welcome back to another video, and today we'll be previewing the World Cup qualification draw for Africa. Yes, the World Cup returns 5 places for African nations, and the draw is coming up very soon. It's coming up on Tuesday the 21st of January, and it's going to be taking place in Cairo. Everything related to CAF and African football seems to be taking place in Egypt these days. Let's not start questioning their corruption. But anyway, the draw is upon us. It's for the second round of FIFA World Cup qualifying. That's right, if you don't know, a first round of qualifying has already taken place, and the likes of Somalia and all them are already out of FIFA World Cup qualifying. There are 40 African nations going into this draw, 40 vying for 5 places. But these 40 teams are going to be split into 10 groups of 4, and every group winner will go forward to the playoff round, where they'll be playing each other off for a place at the finals in Qatar. That's right, it's going to be like how it was in 2014 when we had those groups. Of course, Algeria won their group. They played Burkina Faso and they beat Burkina Faso on aggregate on away goals to make it to the World Cup. There were some great ties in that qualification campaign. There was, of course, Egypt, recall losing 6-1. Tunisia played Cameroon in a great game in those playoffs. So yeah, I like this way of qualifying, and I think we've got a better chance. The group is going to be a lot easier than if it was a playoff than the group, because last time for World Cup qualifying we had the group as the final round, and that had Algeria playing against Nigeria and Cameroon, which just went horribly wrong. Of course, Nigeria went on to make the World Cup from our group, and we even lost home and away to Zambia. Let's hope for something more successful. Of course, Jamal Belmadi's side are now the champions of Africa, so surely going into this draw, Algeria should be fearing no one, right? I mean, we beat Senegal twice, we beat Nigeria, we beat Ivory Coast, we beat Guinea, Kenya, Tanzania, so even beat Colombia. Surely we're going to be looking at this draw and be like, we're not really scared of anyone, because we are the champions, the best team in Africa. Although not by FIFA ranking, in terms of by tournament football, we won the competition. So what's interesting is FIFA have split the pots, we believe, by FIFA ranking, and that's the December 2019 FIFA rankings. Algeria will be in pot 1. They're not the highest seed, they're actually the 4th highest, I think. Despite the fact Algeria won AFCON, they're not the top seed. They're in pot 1 though, so that's good. What this also means is that Algeria cannot play anyone in pot 1. We can't get the likes of Morocco, Egypt, Tunisia. We can't play a North African side. We can play, you know, teams like Sudan, Libya, that sort of North African level, but not the big boys. We can't play, of course, Nigeria or Cameroon. So the big boys we can't draw, but Algeria could find themselves, if they're very unlucky, with an Ivory Coast in their group, which could cause some problems if Ivory Coast get their act together. Yes, we beat them in AFCON, but I'd rather play a lesser nation than play Ivory Coast. So let's look at the pots and let's look at this draw for World Cup qualifying. Pot 1, we've got Senegal, Tunisia, Nigeria, Algeria, Morocco, Ghana, Egypt, Cameroon, Mali, and the Democratic Republic of Congo sneaking in there. First things first, big shock, Ivory Coast aren't in pot 1. They're a huge African nation. They were champions of Africa just 5 years ago. So Ivory Coast in pot 2, they're the team everyone wants to avoid. But in terms of pot 1, likely teams that Algeria will get in the playoffs are the ones in pot 1. So a bit careful when it comes to that round, but let's get through the second round first. Hopefully we're going to have an easy group, and luckily we can't get the likes of Ghana, Egypt, Morocco, Nigeria, Tunisia. So best to not get those teams drawn, but Algeria in pot 1, and let's take a look at the teams Algeria can draw in pot 2. So pot 2 possesses the hardest possible opponent in this group for the Algerian national team. In this group we could get Burkina Faso, we could be playing Ivory Coast in the group, we could get South Africa, we could get Guinea, Uganda, Cape Verde, Gabon. Could Aubameyang be heading to Algiers? We could have Benin, Zambia, who we had in World Cup qualifying last time, and Congo. Again, pot 2, some decent sides there. You don't want to be getting Ivory Coast, you don't want to be getting Burkina Faso, you don't want to be getting South Africa. Uganda are a decent side. We smashed Guinea at AFCON. Gabon have got Aubameyang. Zambia we just thrashed 5-0, so I wouldn't mind them this time. Benin, quarter-finalists at AFCON, but again, we beat them recently. Funnily enough, Benin are the last time Algeria lost a game under Jamal Belmadi. Interestingly enough, Madagascar in pot 3. So if you're unlucky, you could get Ivory Coast and Madagascar. Pot 3 has Madagascar, Mauritania, Libya, Mozambique, Kenya, who we beat at AFCON, the Central African Republic we lost to all those years ago, Zimbabwe, still a decent side, you know, the likes of Biliat, Niger, Namibia and Guinea-Bissau. Again, there's some teams I'd love to play in there, but I wouldn't want Madagascar, particularly with Ahmed sniffing around with his CAF ownership. Yeah, there's some teams I'd take there. You know, you'd easily take the likes of Namibia and Niger, although Namibia were at AFCON as well. Maybe they deserve a little bit of respect. Pot 4, you've got Malawi, Angola are in pot 4. That's a strong pot 4, and Togo. Togo used to be such a good side, but maybe Adebayor has carried them for too long. They need a change in their team. Sudan, Rwanda, Tanzania, who we always thrash, Equatorial Guinea, Ethiopia, Liberia and Djibouti. So that's pot 4. You've got to be beating the pot 4 team home and away ideally. So first of all, what is the toughest group Algeria could get? Now, we might disagree on this, but for me, I don't want to play Ivory Coast. I think the possible tough group is Algeria, Ivory Coast, Madagascar and probably Togo. I would not want to play, because every away game, if we get Ivory Coast, Madagascar, Togo, every away game is going to be tough, okay? And I know we went to Togo recently and won 4-1. It's going to be different, guys, okay? We're going to be expected to go to Togo, to Ivory Coast and to Madagascar and get a result and beat them all at home. That's way too difficult. So I don't want those teams out of those pots. Do not throw Ivory Coast at us. I think from pot 2 we could give anyone a game, but Ivory Coast, again, they're going to be wanting revenge on us, aren't they, for the AFCON quarter-final exit, the heartbreak, the Wilfred Brony revenge part 3. So I don't want Ivory Coast, I don't want Madagascar, like I say, AFCON quarter-finalists. They beat Nigeria in the group stage, and when you've got Ahmed there, you really got to be careful, because anything can happen, literally anything can happen. And I think pot 4, there's a few decent sides. I think Angola are a decent side, and Togo as well. I would not want to play Togo in pot 4, being considerate and relative to the teams that are in pot 4. But nonetheless, could Algeria be a lot luckier? And we are due some luck in World Cup draws, considering we got Nigeria, Cameroon, Zambia last time. Funnily enough, the team I'll actually take in pot 2 are Zambia. And I know Zambia beat us home and away in the last the last World Cup qualifying, but we just smashed them 5-0, right? Then we just smashed Zambia 5-0 and Bleeder. Let's smash them again. Let's give them a taste of their own medicine. Let's get their revenge in the World Cup qualifying on them. Zambia, the 2012 African champions, they're not what they were. They've got the likes of Patson Daka, some decent talents, but when you compare Zambia to Ivory Coast, South Africa, Benin, Gabon, Uganda, I'd happily take Zambia. Maybe Benin, but Benin, could they be a bogey side, because they're the last side to beat by Muddy's Algeria. So Algeria, if Zambia come out of pot 2, I'll be very happy. In pot 3, I'd like to get Niger. I think Niger are probably a poor side. Namibia and Guinea-Bissau were at AFCON, so is Zimbabwe and Kenya and Mauritania and Madagascar. Libya could be a little bit sparkly, a bit of a derby. I think Niger are the safest option, or Niger, however you say it. You know they're a bad side when you can't pronounce them. So yeah, I'd take Niger from pot 3. And looking at pot 4, interesting, there's a few. I don't want Tanzania. Maybe they're due a win against us. I'd take Djibouti. So imagine if we get Zambia, Niger and Djibouti, we might as well book our tickets to Doha, because that is going to be laughing our way to the bank and back. So I'd very happily take Algeria, Zambia, Niger and Djibouti. Very unlikely, very minimal chances, but I'd love that. So you can see the pots, guys. Let me know down below the best group Algeria could get and the worst group Algeria could get, or just tell me the group you want Algeria to get. Do you want Algeria to face South Africa, for example? But nonetheless, it should be relatively easy. It's the playoff round after I'm more worried about, but let's take it one step at a time. The road to Qatar starts here. All roads lead to Qatar now. This has been the preview for the African draw for the World Cup qualifiers for Qatar 2022. Let me know your thoughts down below on the groups you'd like Algeria to have. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.